Welcome back, guys. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing kind of a voiceover video to get us through a lot of the tier 1 and tier 2 automation, which is like your basic iron rods, iron plates, a little bit of the assembler stuff. Eventually, I'm going to have to make a lot more elaborate buildings and structures, which we will kind of go through, and I'll explain more on that. But I've already pretty much kind of made this video in season 2. We're using like the exact same iron inputs and everything, the same numbers, same setup, the same ratios. I didn't really see the point in repeating all that because that video wasn't really like huge before. So like, why would I make the same video and expect it to be any better? So what we're gonna do instead is I'm gonna voice over this background footage of me kind of building all this stuff. You can get a general sense of how I'm going about stuff, where I'm laying belts underneath the floor, and how I'm trying to organize it a little bit, and maybe pick up some ideas here and there in the background. Um, this is kind of like the building style that I've been adapting lately, where I've been doing all sorts of kind of bits and bobs to kind of hide as much as possible when it comes to like wiring and belts and stuff like that. And it's stuff that I'm going to be using throughout this series, and you'll kind of get um, a general idea of how I like to build. That's not the important part of this video. The important part of this video is we're going to be talking about kind of the future plans for this world and kind of what's going to lead us through into the next probably 5 to 10 episodes and kind of everything that we're going to be doing. I took some time to go through and plan out some of the nodes and locations around the area where I could remember where stuff was at. And I'm going to be kind of posting some little pictures here and there that'll show you what I'm talking about. But the first thing I did was I started walking over because I knew where a cold node location was. And I started walking over and I found an entrance to that cave that I was talking about in the last video, kind of the underground thing. And that's going to be a big topic for today as we kind of get to the end of this. But I found an entrance to that, which is really, really good. I don't know if it actually goes to it. I believe it does. If not, there's probably something down there. There's not just caves for no reason. But I kept walking, and I did make it to the coal plant location for our season 1 world. Uh, this is like probably one of my favorite areas to build, and like I would say like 80% of the worlds that I built that are even remotely in this area, I always build coal plants here, and they have changed it a little bit from what I can tell. Uh, but we do have all this stuff over here, and I'm planning to build like our very first kind of mega factory with everything going on over here. Now, a coal plant isn't that sort of kind of big mega factory that I'm explaining to. We're going to go through a little bit of a tier process of it. So we're going to start off by building the coal plant just so we can get the automated power and everything that is there. Um, Ultimately, we're going to try to get off the coal power as early as possible. I may leave stuff for a little while, but eventually, once we get to the fuel generation and stuff, them changing the power outage on them to 250, there's definitely a good idea there to get off coal power and use our coal for other things, such as steel. And I would really, really like to build just a massive steel factory here. Before, when I was doing this, I was only using like one coal node and one iron node, and there's not enough really iron in this location to make that work. So we're gonna have to do some logistical stuff, which is gonna challenge us to use trucks and trains and whatever we can, which I really don't have that big of a problem using. And I've gotten a lot comfortable with it over kind of the last couple worlds that I've been doing. So ideally, we would use all three of these nodes to make just an egregious amount of steel. And that's what's going to push us further along the lines of being able to make the heavy modular frames, kind of stuff like that down the line where you need a lot of steel to be involved. If we can make just a ton of heavy modular frames in this location, which is going to involve, like I said, a lot of planning. And there's a good chance that we're going to use a lot of the iron nodes from kind of our orange factory. In this whole location, there's all sorts of stuff, but they have taken some things away. They've taken away the quartz nodes that are up in the hill, which are really, really important to what I was planning to do, and it kind of sucks that they're gone. Um, However, that's not there anymore. We got to figure out some different stuff. If those coal nodes are there, there is a lot of iron in that area. You can kind of mix it together. And what I've done on a previous world is I've actually made a crystal oscillator farm there, which, not farm, it's a factory. But so you could actually make crystal oscillators in this area super easily when you had that node, and that's something that I missed out on season 1 is I didn't make crystal oscillators until like the very very end, and I got to the part where you needed to make radio control units and the other stuff that's involved with it, and I didn't have any of that set up, and it was like this severe undertaking to not have that set up early on. Plus, with the court stuff, we're also going to get down that tree. We're going to get blade runners and all sorts of really good stuff from that. So we are definitely in a rush to get ports set up, and I'm going to commit to kind of doing the whole bit this time. I didn't really get to it too much in the last world because I was trying to not have to run halfway across the map, which again we're gonna have to do, but it is okay. Um, we're gonna figure all that out. But if I can, in theory, which this is like I said, it's going to become a mega factory. We are going to have crystal oscillators and a huge steel plant all in the same location. It's going to be a fairly big plant. The heavy modular frame factory that we had, the blue factory, was literally just running six or three manufacturers for 6 heavy modular frames a minute. And I did that off of, I want to say 2 pure nodes, and I think there's 3 in this location. Or they might be normal, and we can do some overclocking. But we're going to figure that out regardless. There should be more steel available in this location than what we had before. So this is going to be a fairly large factory on top of dealing with crystal oscillators, potentially radio control units later on. So it's going to involve a lot of logistics to kind of get everything into this area. But I think this is going to be the really first big thing that we start to put together. On top of that, in this area, though, even though there's not quartz anymore, there is a sulfur node, which is going to be really, really important because we need to start making some weapons for what we're going to be taking on here really soon. Uh, Very easily, I could just turn this on passive and just walk by all the creatures, which is what I did for these pictures. I didn't save this after I went and did any of it. I just kind of reloaded the save and went back. And I'm going to have to go on this adventure and go on this trek again on camera, which it is okay. But I just wanted to get the pictures so you can kind of get a general idea of what I'm talking about. There is a pure sulfur node, which ideally we're going to use this sulfur for compacted coal, stuff like that for turbo fuel because I think that turbo fuel is going to be really, really viable now, especially with the power increase. Uh, for now, though, it can make weapons. It can make bombs, which are going to be really, really important. As I was walking around, I did notice there's a ton of rocks. You're going to see in some of the pictures that I showed you that there is rocks over a lot of things that we're trying to go to. If I can get the explosives, I can get that stuff. I get power slugs, I can get the somber suits, I can get all the stuff that I need. So we're gonna set up a little bit of a factory there, just kind of get us a bunch of the stuff built up as we work on other things. We get like a case of bombs or a case of black powder. That's pretty much usually enough for an extremely long time until we can build something later on. Uh, Eventually, we will replace that factory as well, though. We are going to switch that over to the compacted coal, which is going to have to mix in with some of the areas. When I was walking through there, I did notice that that coal node that's right next to this wasn't there, and I may have just missed it. I didn't have the scan available yet, but there's a good chance that that's gone, which make it a little bit more difficult to find stuff. But I know in the video that he added more coal nodes kind of along that area, so I think we can kind of do some different things that we've been able to do in the past there. But we're going to work through that and figure that out as well. I've also noticed when I was trying to attempt to find the entrance for that cave that I was talking about for the quartz, um, I found a Catarium node, which is really, really good. It's actually not that far from our base. There is a lot of enemies in this area, if you can see the background of the picture, but for the most part, it's really not all that bad. It's just going to be needing bombs, one to destroy the little rock on top of it, but if we can get Caterium, then we can start working down getting our smart splitters and everything that we need. Especially the bigger power pools are going to be really, really important because I'm already tired of having 4 inputs on a power pole. That's driving me up a wall. But if we can get that taken care of, then that'll help us out a lot. And it's only one node. There may be more in this area that are like hidden behind it, but I just wander around this one, and even with one, you should be able to make quite a bit of stuff with some overclocking. So after a while, I walked around and I did find the entrance to that big cave that I was talking about that has the ports underneath the map, and it's going to be a journey for sure. This thing is very, very buried down in there. It's going to involve kind of walking through some spiders and going through some not so good stuff. When I was down there, I found several power slugs, as well as I heard some of the alien artifacts, or whatever you want to call them, talking to me. I didn't see them directly, but I heard them. That means that they're down there, and we can take them and use that to further our journey for our MAM research. Also, the really important thing is on top of finding the quartz down there, which there is 3 nodes, and for what I've gathered, I believe they're all pure, and if they're not, at least 1 or 2 of them are, which is a lot of crystal, which is how we're going to be able to kind of make the factory for the crystal oscillators. But it's going to involve us taking trucks and running all the quartz outside of that, or converting it in there, and then making like a factory inside a cave, which is going to limit us on space, but it could be possible. And then ultimately belting or trucking the stuff out of the cave. It's going to be a logistical problem for sure, but that's just the situation that we're in, and that's what we're going to have to do. So, it's not the end of the world. The main thing that I found down there that was really, really cool and really, really important to the series is I found a SAM node. Now, I'm assuming that the SAM is not the same as it was before, where it runs out. I'm assuming that is now an infinite node, just like the rest of them, but it's down there, and that's going to be involved in the logistical process. I don't know what that's going to get converted into and what that's going to involve, but if we're talking about taking SAM ore out of this cave, we're probably going to use the same logistical system as the quartz. And if we do that, we're now going to have a massive steel factory, heavy modular frame manufacturers, crystal oscillator manufacturers, unless we get the better alternative recipes that can do it with assemblers. And on top of that, we now have SAM ore, which is going to be the end game stuff. So we are looking at a massive, 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 huge factory and a lot of stuff going on there. And maybe we're going to take on some new stuff. We can use drones and stuff later on to try to get some of that stuff out of there. But this is going to become a very, very big part of the world. And there is so much to do there and so much going on. And it's a bit overwhelming. And it's going to take a lot of episodes for us to work through and solve a lot of these issues. We are nowhere near having drones yet. We're just in the first stage of solving stuff and talking about it and trying to get a general idea and a plan for all the stuff that's in this area and what we're going to be able to do. There's also a few things that I did mention. There's coal on top of the ridge that we can go and get. And on top of just the stuff that's on the ridge, I mean, there's 4 like pure coal nodes up there, unless they changed it. On top of that, we're not even referring to anything that's really existing within the Rocky Desert. There's still pure nodes around here. There's normal nodes. There's copper. There is still Caterium that is on the other side of our factory, as opposed to the one that we kind of walked by. There's a lot of stuff in this area and a lot of things to conquer. And it's going to be a really, really exciting series. And we're going to very aggressively, in the world that I played with my friend, it became how much can we take on? How much can we convert? How much can we produce? How much power are we going to need? And power is going to become a problem. I'm not denying that. But with all these systems that gave us to have more power, it's time that we figure out how to use it. And that's going to be building a lot and a lot of factories. We're going to need blueprints. We're going to need everything. I am so excited for what's to come, and you guys should be too. If you have any ideas about what we could do in this area, I'm not too familiar with playing in the Rocky Desert, which is why I'm kind of defaulting to some of the areas that I do know, because I know that they can be really good, and I'm just going to try to do different things in those areas. However, I've played maybe like a total of like 50 hours in the Rocky Desert, and I really never got that far. So if you guys have ideas, if you are a Rocky Desert main, or you've been over here, or have you seen some cool factories, let me know down below. Let me know whatever it is that you guys have done in this area that could be a great idea, or maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it might be a bad idea to put multiple in-game items in a single factory. That's ultimately probably going to destroy my computer, but it is what it is. I'll buy another one. It's fine. There's just a lot of things to be excited for, and if you guys know anything better, please let me know down below. We're gonna go ahead and end this video here, and I've already started working on the next video because I've been playing just a ton, and I just wanted to kind of focus on playing and not speaking, so I could really get a lot of the basic stuff done, and we can get back to making videos more consistently. I'm gonna probably upload this video, do a little bit of recording, and then I got work, and then hopefully either tonight or tomorrow morning or something, we'll get another video out. Like I said, there's no promises, just really excited, and I'm really, really glad to be back. This is gonna be it. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out of here.